Greetings, hey, Dr. Brandon Nielsen here. And I have a question for you. Why is it that so many people are turning away from, mainstream medicine, from drugs and surgeries? There are more and more people looking to alternative. One of the biggest powerful tools that we have now is the internet. It is a great disruptor because we have access to the same information that doctors like me and other physicians have access to. And so people are looking, they're empowering themselves. It's such an exciting time. It's such a cool time to be alive and see this happening. We're restoring family health. Well, to tell you a little bit about myself, if it's okay, 8 different failed attempts. 8 miserable, painful failed attempts. To what? To being Dr. Nielsen. Yes, over the course of about 4 years, you guys, I failed. I finished my first doctorate in chiropractic medicine, and then over the course of about 4 years, failed. I remember about the 5th time, I was like, you know what's wrong? Because I work for all these other doctors. I need to rent and build my own practice. Well, I tried that, and I had like 2 or 3 patients. It was horrible. Blew up. So I thought, okay, I've got it. I need to buy a practice and then just slide right in, and that will work. And died. That died. So I thought, okay, so I got it. So I need to work for someone while I'm building my practice. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I worked for another doctor, and I tried this a couple of times. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, I was trying to build my own practice. Blew up. Till finally, I was kind of like, one night, I remember after seeing some patients, I was like, what am I doing? What am I doing? It was December. It was a cold night. And I remember I made a decision that night. I turned the lights out, and I shut the door on the building. But more importantly, I shut the door on being Dr. Nielsen. I was done. I was completely finished, and it was tough. It was tough to make that decision, but I was like, I'm so tired of the pain and just the frustration and it wasn't just all these years, how much energy and effort I had put in. That was a difficult time because what was I going to do now? I had completely planned on doing this for the past years and years and years of my life. So I graduated like 4 years earlier, plus all the years of chiropractic school, like 4 years, plus all the undergrad. So what are we talking here now? Like 12 years after graduate, 12 years after from starting this. It was tough. I was sad. I was alone. And it was so tough. I was just I still had to pay my student loans, but I was in debt. Me trying to date wasn't working out. And it was so crazy because I kept wondering what's wrong with me? Why can't I get a break? And I kept thinking like, I'm not doing bad things. Like, I'm not a bad person. I'm a good man. I was going to church regularly, and I was serving people. Like they say, you got to serve people in these moments, right? And I was serving people, and I was doing all those good things. But what I found out, looking back now, is I wasn't doing the right things, like the right things in business. My relationship with God was great. I knew who I was. But I think one of the toughest things, and I see this with people, maybe you've experienced this, is I kind of lost vision or sight or understanding of why I was here on earth. I didn't know anymore my purpose. I thought it was, doing what I was doing, but I kind of lost my vision of my purpose and why I was here on earth. And I believe that's one of the hardest questions in life, because I think we ask that, and so often the answer is no. It's like, it's not it, or no, that's not it yet, or no, you still haven't figured it out. And so we give up, and we just kind of live mediocrity and mundane, and we never truly figure it out. Well, that's kind of how it was for me, but I am such a fighter and perseverer. Perseverance is my middle name, right? And so I wasn't giving up. And the cool thing is my older brother came into town. He's Dr. Jared Nielsen, and he had learned this technique from Dr. Chris Peterson and from going to some other seminars. And what it was is using muscle testing to access basically my subconscious mind. So if you can imagine, if your computer, like, or your phone, your smartphone phone, you go into settings and you can actually access the hard drive, or let's say you can actually access the programs. Well, you guys, just to explain this so you understand, I had been trying to figure out my life for 4 years, and in 30 minutes, it's like we took this 900-pound gorilla that was just suffocating me, and we didn't just like daintily peel him off my back. It's like we threw him across the room, and I could breathe again. And it was so cool because I had failed over and over in being Dr. Nielsen, but I wasn't a failure. And I had failed over and over in relationships, but I wasn't a failure. And even though I was in debt, I was still important. And even though I was overweight, I still had self-worth. And just because the fact that I was me, Brandon Nielsen, on this earth was good enough for the moment, right? And I just felt like this awakening, alive, and like I'm okay. And I just felt so loved in that moment. It was the coolest experience. Such a turning point in my life. Well, from that, I got married. I know and what I finally realized is it was always me. I was always the problem. It wasn't any other doctor. It wasn't any other practice. It was me, right? Well, I had to become the right person so that I could find the right person for me, right? We had to get on the same level. Well, I found her. It was a girl who I knew from 9 years earlier. 9 years later now, Jolene Palmer, who is now Jolene Nielsen, who is the love of my life, my wife. And I love our relationship and how it's just continued to blossom and grow. And, oh, she's so captivating. She's so just scrumptious. I love her. So I got married. Things started to change as far as because now it's we got out of, my credit card debt, and we over time paid off all my student loans, and eventually we had kids, and everything started to change. And from that, I kind of thought, if I was a little bit stuck, because that was such a profound experience that I did with my brother, if I was a little bit stuck, I wonder if there's other people out there that maybe they're just a little bit stuck. I lost like 30 pounds, but maybe it's just like 5 pounds that you needed to lose. Or maybe like they haven't figured out their purpose in life yet. Maybe they don't even know why they're here on earth, and they're just kind of stuck. And if we could just like get into their programs and use the right tools, like everything could change. And I was like, maybe this is what I'm supposed to do. I don't know. I think I'm supposed to do this. I think I'm supposed to take care of patients again. I think I'm supposed to teach this, but I wasn't practicing as Dr. Nielsen yet. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to give it one last shot. I talked to my wife. She's kind of like, hey, I believe in you. You can do this. And I gave it one last shot. And that one last shot, you guys, let me tell you, it was like an overnight success. I mean, overnight. Now this is like 5 years since I've graduated. They call it overnight success, but it's like 15 years in the making, right? I mean, this took my whole life to come to this point, but truthfully, things changed. I mean, really, like I was Dr. Nielsen, and it was awesome. It was phenomenal. And out of all this, right now, I'm just thinking, truly, it was my Savior, who is Jesus Christ, that got me out of this. I would be so ungrateful if I didn't give great thanks to Him. Okay? So from that, things were awesome. I was in practice. I was doing great. I started learning the technique. But one thing I would say it was kind of frustrating is, patients would come to me and they would say, Dr. Nielsen, I have this, this, and this. And I'm kind of like, well, I haven't done a very good job teaching you then, because you shouldn't really be coming to me for this. Because you guys, when you look at the Latin root of doke, doctor, right? Doctor, it's actually to teach, or one who is learned and it's to actually teach. And that's really what I feel as a doctor, is I'm a teacher. And I was kind of frustrated because I felt like people were coming to me that they should have known this and they should have taken care of themselves like the olden days. Like my mom, we didn't go to the doctor hardly ever. Like it was kind of the 90-10 rule or 80-20 rule, where 80% of the time, 90% of the time, even like 95% of the time at my house, my mom took care of us. And then 5%, like I remember going to the doctor like 1 or 2 times my entire life. I was born, okay, and then I had one little surgery when I was a kid, and then I remember in high school I went to the doctor. It was like, seriously, like a handful of times we never went to the doctor. It was always mom. And that's what was kind of frustrating for me in practice, is I was seeing these people and I'm kind of like, what happened to this, the healer mentality? And so I really started studying, and I started to figure out like, kind of that calling that I had to take these complex doctor terms and issues and simplify them down into what other doctors could use them, but also families. But I didn't know how to do that. I didn't know how to, I knew how to do it, but I didn't know how to teach or who I was going to teach. And things were going well, but I wasn't really moving forward with it. I was just kind of gaining information, just kind of sitting on my bum, seeing patients, but simplifying things, but not teaching anybody. So I remember we had gone to Hawaii, and just for fun, just for a vacation. It was January, it was cold. We're like, let's go to Hawaii, get out of the crazy coldness. And there was an inversion in Utah. It's where the cold, smoggy air, foggy air gets trapped down and the hot air's on top. Well, we came back to that. It was like negative 10 degrees. And my little daughter, she was like 2 years old, I think. She's like, Dad, let's go sledding. Wasn't even thinking, didn't get acclimated. So the next day we go sledding. Well, by that night, she had a raging fever. It was a bad fever. By the next day, she could hardly even breathe. Okay, so she had RSV, Respiratory Syncytial Virus, and it was crazy. It's almost like double asthma, where you can't breathe or in and out. You're just not getting oxygen, and your lungs start to shut down because of the virus. Well, I remember Sunday night, I had put some oregano oil on her back, and I did not dilute it, you guys. Of course you dilute oregano oil, it burns. I put it on her back. She started freaking out because it started burning her sweet little back. I started freaking out, trying to hurry and get it off, trying to, dilute it, get it off. And yes, we did. But I was freaking out. She couldn't breathe, and she started blue lipping. She was getting no oxygen. I'm like, honey, I've got to take her to the emergency room. I've got to go. I've got to run. And I was just about to take her to the emergency room. And I kind of had this overwhelming impression, like, stop. I was kind of, okay, what? And I just had this feeling like, you've got this. You can get through this. It's like, you sure about that? Okay. Well, I remember that night I put a mattress in it by her crib, and oh man, because my wife had to work the next morning. No, she didn't. She wasn't working. I don't know. She was probably tired from the night before. I can't remember. All I know is I had pulled my mattress because I wanted my wife to sleep. That's right. And pulled my mattress in there, a mattress in there. And oh man, it was a sleepless night. I just kept listening. Is she breathing? Is she breathing? She's okay. The next day I consulted with one of my medical doctor friends, and she said, you know what? She's very holistic minded. And she's kind of like, you know what they're going to do? They're going to, if you go to the hospital, you go to the emergency room, all they're going to do is they're going to put her on oxygen, and they are going to give her a steroid. I was kind of like, that's right. Because mainstream medicine, they don't know how to take care of viruses. I was like, oh my goodness. Of course I'm not going to take her to the hospital because I knew how. I'm not saying for you guys not to do that, because I knew what to do, okay? So what we did is we went up to my brother's place, out of the inversion, out of the smog, out of the fog, and we put her on oxygen because I had oxygen, compressed oxygen. We were able to put her on oxygen, concentrated oxygen. I was constantly checking her finger, right? I had a pulse oximeter. We're constantly checking her oxygen, and we put her on everything. herbs, tinctures, nutritional supplements, vitamins, minerals. I mean, everything, homeopathy, everything. She wasn't getting better. Sleepless nights, wasn't getting better. About the second or third night, I remember, you guys, and this kind of was another big turning point, is I remember, I don't know if it was in the middle of the night, in the morning, I don't remember when it was, but a message came to me. Whether it was an angel, whether it was just a spiritual voice, we can call it the Holy Spirit or an angelic voice. And the message was this: you need to teach families how to do this. It's kind of like, teach families how to do what? Stay up 5 nights in a row and suffer? No, it's like, teach families how to take care of these illnesses naturally. It's like, oh, yeah, I do. I'm a teacher. I'm a doctor. Dokra. I need to do this. Who? What? How? What? It was like, I was supposed to figure it out, but I did it. And then my other daughter got sick a while later. It's the same message, like, hey, like, and knock on the brain. Did you forget you're supposed to teach this to families? I'm like, oh yeah. And that message kept coming every time my children were very sick, until I started teaching families. Yeah. I actually started living up to the doctor title and started teaching. So what am I? I'm a teacher. I teach families. I restore family health through teaching, through education, right? Enlightening and empowering families. And I started teaching like that other technique, like what I call emotional stress release. And so, like I said, as I took complex things and started simplifying them so doctors could understand them, and just families. And I formed something called the Holistic Family. And you guys, what's so cool is we're having an event called the Holistic Family Live, where I've organized, kind of put to order some of the greatest minds in the world, which, you know, some of the greatest minds in the world, they're moms. They are moms who have learned how to do like homeopathy. They're moms who have gone through the struggle of whooping cough naturally. They're moms who have been able to learn that food really is medicine. And I've put together an event called the Holistic Family Live. And really what we're doing is teaching you how to be a healer, how to learn how to nurture and love, creating the greatest relationships of your life, being able to take care of your kids when they're sick, but also the mental struggles that are coming. So I didn't put this together. I didn't get on purpose for you not to be there. What I'm saying is, you need to be there. You need to come to Holistic Family Live. I expect you to be there. And you might say, oh, I don't have enough money. Well, guess what? We're going to do a special thing where it's so cheap. If you can't make it, you probably shouldn't come. If you really can't afford this little small amount of money. I mean, to see me personally, yeah, you need to come. Or you might say, well, I don't know if I could really do this. You guys, again, I take all the complex things, I simplify them. We have moms doing this. My little daughter, who's 8 years old, is starting to be able to do some of these techniques. Well, I just don't know. What are people going to think? All this holistic, natural, woo stuff. You know what? Kick Satan in the teeth and get to Holistic Family Live, okay? Just kick him in the teeth and come. I will see you at Holistic Family Live. And just so you know, if you can't get in right now, you're probably going to need to either sign up on the waiting list, or we're going to have a little special, and so you can't see a place where you can buy it, because all we know is prices continue to go up. But if you enter your name and email, put your name and email right now. I'm serious. Put your name and email, and if you feel like, oh, I can't put my real email, I don't want to be spam, don't then. Put some alternate email that you'll still get the messages, though. Don't miss out on this message, because there is a little window that we're going to do a special. Then after that, you'll miss. And then if you do not get the emails and the alerts, you will miss out on the opportunity. So please don't miss out. You guys, I am so glad that I figured out why I'm here on earth. And Holistic Family Live is a part of that. And you need to come and learn to be a healer. I'll see you there. I'll see you on the other side. Thanks so much for staying tuned. I'm Dr. Brandon Nielsen. And remember this: to live in wholeness every day.